Robotics Notes DaSH is a visual novel for the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch, and is a direct sequel to Robotics Notes, developed by 5PB, Mages, and Chomaro Studio. The story takes place roughly 1 year after the events in the original game. The members of the Robo Club who saved Tanegashima from Kimijima-ko have reunited to celebrate the summer festival together. But this time, they have an unexpected new member.
ご紹介に預かりました橋田至29歳ですを現在彼女募集中なのだぜただし2次元に限る
Robotics Notes is arguably the least popular entry in the Science Adventure series. So, what to do in order to draw attention to this sequel? Easy! Just put one of the most popular characters from Steins Gate in it. That should do. And the chosen one was Daru the Super Hacker. That's where the dash in the title comes from. Most games in the Science Adventure series have at least 2 writers. Hayashi Naotaka is the main scenario writer for most of the main entries, such as Chaos Head, Steins Gate, and the original Robotics Notes, while his assistant, Yasutomo Toru, is usually in charge of the sequels and weird spin-offs, such as Darling of the Loving Voles, and of course, Love Choo Choo. And such was the case for Robotics Notes DaSH, which actually explains a lot. Aside from Akiho's route and the true route, all the other routes in the game are very short stories with Daru as the protagonist, as he gets closer to one of the members of the Robo Club. Each route gives a bit of character development to one of the members in the club, but at the end of the day, they are very simplistic slice-of-life stories for the most part. And surprisingly, there is no romance at all. Well, except for Akiho's route. I really hope you ship those two. I don't. Those short stories can be good and a bit silly in some cases. Like how Subaru is finally able to reconnect with his father, all thanks to giant robots! Or how Juna becomes a Henshin heroine in order to overcome her shyness. As you do. However, some routes can be really stupid, like Airi's route, where she somehow becomes an adult with huge oppies. And then she ends up impersonating a pop idol because of an easily avoidable misunderstanding.
何が誤解だって言うん？
私、アイドルじゃないんです。私は愛理なんです。当たり前じゃないですか。ほら、ちゃんとポスターにも書いてありますよ。マジカルアカデミア期待の新星アイリー。種子島にてお披露目って。
But there is nothing worse than Kojiro Frau's route, which involves a monster called Homosexual Homunculus. And this horrible monster has the fearsome power to turn men gay.
それが男と男の愛情ちゅうもんじゃね。ああ、ヒロムちゃん。
なあ、すみよ。
So naturally, they have to fight it with the giant robot. Or else, all the masculinity in the island might disappear forever. I shit you not, that's the plot.
ホモを求める腐女子の欲望と邪念それらが集まり形をなしホモ的なものを求めて夜な夜な街を徘徊するそれがホモクレ妖怪
It's just a bad fujoshi joke that goes on for too long, which is really a shame to me. After all, Kona-chan is my favorite character. And one more thing. Are they making fun of Yokotaro here? It's hard to say for sure. I mean, it's not like Yokotaro is a giant monster obsessed with yaoi content. At least as far as I know. They also have to fight against a revived Kimiji Mako, who now has the power to materialize anything he wants. Like making all the girls in the island turn into Nekomimi maids.
猫耳メイド
That is nothing more important. Except for maybe swimsuits.
やっぱり
But that's a different story. And this is all thanks to a super advanced type of augmented reality. I guess? Well, I don't know for sure.
おまわりさん、この人です。
Unlike the other games in the series, they never bother too much about explaining the crazy scientific stuff this time around.
妄想他人の頭に投影ね。でも現実としてそんなことできるの？
できるよ。
And that's all the explanation we ever get. That's pretty different from all the wall of text that we used to get in all of the previous games, especially in Steins Gate. I suppose science is just not the main focus in this game. That may explain why Kimiji Mako is just a perverted old man now, who is not intimidating in the slightest.
僕の愛人、それもブルマ姿の愛人いるだなんて。
私、君島さんのものではありませんけど。
別に僕がブルマになるよう望んだわけじゃないが、しかしそのチョイスは悪くない。
君島さん、なんかちょっとキモいです。
キモい？
はい。ブルマとかちょっとおじさんっぽいですし。
おじさん。
Oh, how Daru saves the day by using his hentai imagination powers.
ほら、いい子だから服はだけて。今度は前の方拭きましょうね。わかったわよ。痛いの飛んでけ。これでいい？取れましたよ。
ほら、どうした？犬のようにしなさいよ。
Okay, fair enough. Science is not the only theme in this series. All the previous main entries had some kind of urban legend from the internet. In Chaos Head, there were cryptic messages on secret websites. Steins Gate plot revolved around an internet legend, John Titor, while one of the main plots in Robotics notes was Lost Media, the lost last episode of a cancelled show, which had some kind of secret message. But on the other hand, the sequel has nothing of that nature. If anything, it has more to do with a certain Johnny Depp movie than anything else, which comes to show how off this game feels in comparison with the rest of the series. Thankfully, the last route is way better than the rest of the game, with a more complex and serious story. But in my opinion, it is still far from being as good as the other games in the Science Adventure series, without mentioning that it takes a long time just to unlock this route. The way you get into a route is way more straightforward this time. You don't need to answer a bunch of messages on social media anymore. Now you just need to visit the right place at the right time to activate the flags you want. This is better in a way. Now it's much easier and faster to get into a specific character's route. But consequentially, the game lost a lot of its charm and personality. As for the graphics, they use a combination of 2D backgrounds with 3D models for the characters, which allows the characters to be way more expressive than what you usually see in most visual novels. However, it's pretty clear how those 3D models didn't age well. After all, the original game was released back in 2012 for the PlayStation 3, and this new game is still recycling most of the same 3D models. That's kinda lazy. Hey, remember back in the day when people used to breathe from their shoulders? Shut up! In video games they did! The soundtrack is mostly the same as the previous game, with just a few new tracks for Daru and Airi. It is still a pleasant and catchy soundtrack, but nothing exceptional. Considering the recent changes in direction for the developers, this might as well be the last Robotics notes, or even the final game in the Science Adventure series altogether. Which is a real shame, since this was a very weak sequel in my opinion. There was barely any character development, and the overall tone was very different from the original. But most importantly, Daru is always a treasure. But the fact that they had to focus the game on a character from a completely different story was pretty ridiculous and kinda desperate. If you are still interested in this game, you might want to wait for the English version, which is coming in 2020, although a specific release date was not announced yet. However, if you just want to play the Japanese version right now, I recommend you have at least a few years of experience with the Japanese language. You know, there is a lot of science after all. And that's it for this review. But if you still have any questions about Robotics Notes DaSH, or if you have suggestions for future reviews, just leave a comment. Thank you for watching. Bye!
Living here in Jersey, fighting villains from afar. You gotta find first gear in your giant